Shocking secrets, entering Pompeii's BR0THEL at midnight, you won't believe what happened. The moon hung like a ghostly eye over the ruins, casting eerie shadows on the ancient stones, whispering secrets of the past. A group of intrepid explorers approached what was once a bustling brothel, its faded frescoes still clinging to life amidst falling plaster. It felt like stepping into a time machine, but with a sense of danger thick in the air. What would they uncover in the heart of this long-buried mystery? The first flicker of unease hit when they noticed a faint, sweet scent wafting through the corridors, a perfume of roses long forgotten yet still haunting, as if the very spirits of the past were lurking in corners. Then, out of nowhere, a chilling draft swept through, making the hairs on their necks stand on end. Little did they know, the whispers from generations long gone would soon carry a tale of both beauty and horror. As they wandered deeper, every creak of the wooden floorboard seemed to echo with urgency. The paintings, though faded, told stories that sent shivers down their spines, some depicting scenes of romance, others hinting at something darker lurking just beneath the surface. The group exchanged nervous glances, the weight of what they were witnessing pressing down like a heavy cloak. Suddenly, an unexpected noise, a clang, then silence. It felt like the walls were closing in. Each had a knot in their stomach, fingers curling tightly around their flashlights, punctuating the darkness with beams of nervous light. Just when the tension hit its peak, with their breaths hitching in unison, they heard a sound that chilled them more than the sudden breeze, a soft, distant murmur that sounded like laughter, but twisted, with an edge that felt decidedly unwelcoming. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The laughter started again, echoing off the stones, drawing the group onward, against their better judgment. It was a siren's call, beckoning them into a deeper mystery they couldn't resist. As trepidation gripped them tighter, the shadows shifted, almost alive, threatening to reveal the secrets of Pompeii's infamous past. Was it really laughter they heard? Or something much more sinister? A choice lay before them, the light or the darkness. Would they uncover the forbidden truths hidden within, or would the ghostly remnants of Pompeii claim them for their own? The laughter echoed again, this time closer, its sound weaving through the ancient halls like a serpent. It was intoxicating and terrifying all at once, drawing them deeper into the brothel's embrace. With each hesitant step, the explorers could almost feel the walls breathe around them. The shadows twisted, morphing into elusive shapes that vanished just as quickly as they appeared. Guys, should we really keep going? Emma's voice trembled, slicing through the thick tension. The others exchanged glances, uncertainty flickering in their eyes. Still, something deeper stirred their curiosity, a shared excitement that was both exhilarating and frightening. With a shaky breath, Alex pushed forward, his flashlight beam bouncing against the faded murals. They depicted raucous revelries, intertwining bodies, and expressions of pleasure that were stark against the backdrop of decay. The vividness of those ancient lives felt eerily vibrant in the moonlight, bringing a pulse of life into the dim corridors. Then, just as they turned a corner, they stumbled upon a larger room, its stone floor covered in debris. Against the far wall stood a stone statue draped in a veil, its features obscured yet alluring. The laughter crescendoed here, swirling around them, as if the very ghosts of the past were celebrating their arrival. Is anyone else getting the feeling we're not alone? Jake whispered, his voice barely above a breath. His fingers trembled around the flashlight, casting frantic beams across the walls. The laughter morphed, a sound both maddening and joyful, sending chills racing down their spines. Maybe it's just the wind, Emma suggested, though her tone held little conviction. A sudden chill enveloped the room, clinging to their skin, sucking away warmth and replacing it with dread. Then, without warning, the veil draped over the statue fluttered despite the stillness of the air. A gasp escaped several lips as they stepped back instinctively. There was something unsettling about its movement, almost like it was beckoning them, inviting them closer. Should we touch it? Alex felt a surge of bravado, but the urge was met with gasps and quick shakes of heads. The urge to flee tugged at their minds, but curiosity, that age-old predator, kept them rooted. A crack echoed through the room, loud and sinister, seeming to arise from the very heart of the brothel. The laughter seemed to pause and, for a brief moment, an eerie silence fell over the group. The air thickened, almost alive with anticipation. Suddenly, a bright flash illuminated the room, like a lightning strike. Hearts raced as they turned to see what it was. Mobile phones flickered as if drenched in an unseen energy, capturing the surreal moment. The statue now stood revealed, its features glowing eerily in the glow of the screens. Eyes wide, mouth open in a silent scream, the very embodiment of the chaos that once thrived here. "Run!" someone shouted, breaking the spell. Most bolted towards the exit, fear overpowering curiosity, but Alex stood frozen. Was it the figure that captivated him, or was it the weight of history bearing down? He felt drawn, as if the statue were calling for him. In that heartbeat of indecision, the laughter erupted once more, this time it was clearer, more distinct, resonating within their bones. The explorers were trapped in a clash of exhilaration and horror, caught at the precipice of discovery and doom. Just as Alex turned to flee, a shadow flicked past him, darting toward the exit. It wasn't a member of their group. A gasp fell from his lips as he realized their escape could be cut short. What had they released in Pompeii? And would they be able to escape its grip? The unyielding laughter taunted them, echoing in the darkness as the ancient secrets threatened to consume them whole. Alex's heart thundered in his chest as he turned to find the shadow still lingering near the exit. The other three were already halfway down the corridor, their screams of terror mingling with the spectral laughter that echoed through the halls. Panic surged through him. He instinctively reached for his friends, but the darkness fluttered like a winged predator, blocking his way. "Guys! Wait!" he shouted, his voice raw, but the shadows consumed his words. The laughter twisted around him, mocking, as if it thrived on their fear. Alex had never felt so small, trapped in the oppressive history of this forsaken brothel, each stone whispering secrets he was never meant to hear. He quickly glanced back at the statue. It felt alive, its face contorted in a torment that mirrored his own growing dread. The veil draped over it rippled as if stirred by unseen breaths. Was it just his imagination? No, there was something about the way the fabric fluttered almost inviting. With a jolt, Alex forced himself to look away. The hallway stretched ahead like a mouth ready to swallow him whole. The shadows around him thickened, swirling, as if they yearned to drag him back. He took a step forward, then another, urgency propelling him as the sound of hurried footsteps echoed behind him. "Alex!" Emma's voice shattered the atmosphere, raw and pleading that he tore his gaze from the statue and sprinted toward the safety of their fleeing forms. The laughter crescendoed again, crescendoing into a chilling harmony, vibrating through the air. Time distorted as he ran, each echo amplifying the sense of impending doom, driving the adrenaline through his veins. Just then, a hand reached out from the shadows, seizing his shoulder. He turned sharply, eyes wide with panic, but it was only Jake, breathless, his face blanched with fear. "Did you see it? Did you see the thing?" Jake stuttered. "Let us get out of here," Alex urged, fighting against the grip of unease tightening around his chest. They hurried back toward the exit, instinctively stepping closer together, but not before a horrifying realization struck him. What about Emma? He gasped, halting. She hadn't made it far behind them, panic etched in her features. "Emma!" he screamed, turning back, desperate. She appeared a moment later, her eyes wild, lips parted in shock. I felt something." She trembled violently. "Did it touch you?" Jake asked, his voice thick with anxiety. I don't know. Emma stuttered. The air around them crackled. The loud laughter morphed into a low, sinister growl, encircling them. Shadows stretched toward Emma, curling like fingers around her waist. Alex's heart sank. They were trapped. Run! Alex yelled again, a raw cry fueled by desperation as he shoved Emma forward. Together, they turned and sprinted down the corridor. The laughter transformed into a chaotic chorus, every step echoing with the weight of the past colliding with their present. Shadows flickered and darted, always just beyond their reach but growing nearer, as if the ghosts of Pompeii wanted to join the chase. They burst into the larger room they had entered earlier, only to find it shrouded in darkness, a stark contrast to the statue that had now taken on a ghastly glow. The statue stood tall where they had left it, staring at them, its unseeing eyes filled with secrets, holding on to their dread. Suddenly, the laughter stopped. An eerie silence enveloped them like a thick fog, quelling their breaths. They exchanged terrified glances, barely hearing the quickened thud of their hearts. Then the voice came, soft yet resonant, emerging from the darkness around them. "So, you wish to join the revelry?" Fear nodded in Alex's stomach. Would they ever leave this place? What had they awakened? As the figure wove into view, the next horrific truth began to unfold before their eyes. The laughter resumed, and it was the last sound they wanted to hear. The figure stepped closer, its features sharpening in the dim light. Alex's breath hitched as recognition crept in, a twisted smile curling on its lips. It was the same image from the statue, painfully familiar now, with the contours of its face carved into grotesque delight. "Welcome," it hissed, the word dripping with malice, ricocheting off the ancient walls. "So eager to indulge in the past, to be part of the legacy." Alex felt a cold trickle of dread slide down his spine, pooling in his stomach. Around him, Jake and Emma remained frozen in place, their expressions reflecting an amalgam of terror and disbelief. The shadows behind them swirled, restless, whispering secrets in a language so old it was nearly beyond comprehension. Why are you doing this?" Jake's voice broke through the suffocating stillness. He took a tentative step forward, but Alex shot him a look that screamed caution. The figure laughed, the sound sharp and jagged. "You are not the first to trespass here. Many have come, hungry for the stories, but they left changed." A flicker of movement caught Alex's eye, a dark tendril snaking toward Emma, as if summoned by the figure's words. "No!" he yelled, lunging toward her just in time to pull her away. They stumbled back together, wide-eyed and gasping, the laughter echoing with newfound ferocity. "Every soul carries a piece of this place," the figure continued, its voice a haunting melody. "Your fear feeds them. You cannot escape what you've awakened." Alex's heart raced, his thoughts a chaotic storm. "What do you mean? Was this your home? Did you die here?" The figure's smile widened, revealing teeth that were far too white, far too pointed. "Home? Yes and no. This place is an extension of us, and through it, we live on. As long as the stories are told, we are immortal. But fear, dear boy, fear is what keeps us here. Now, you join our tale." With a flick of its wrist, the atmosphere shifted. Shadows wrapped tighter around them, pulling, pushing, as if trying to mold them into the narrative of the brothel. Emma shrieked as beads of darkness dripped down from the ceiling like ink, threatening to consume everything. "Fight it!" Alex called, his voice rising above the din of laughter that surged once more, gathering strength. He squeezed his eyes shut, desperately drawing on the memories of their simple life outside these cursed walls. "We want to become part of your story." The figure leaned forward, its breath a ghostly chill against Alex's skin. "Oh, but you already have. The moment you entered these walls, you chose this fate. Along with your friends." At that moment, the ground shook, sending vibrations coursing through the floor. Glazed eyes from the past flickered to life in the shadows, whispering desperate warnings. The walls pulsated, surrounding them like a collapsing coffin, horror alive and vivid, a suffocating embrace. "Emma! Jake!" Alex shouted, his voice nearly drowned by the cacophony. They looked at him, wild with terror but ready to fight back. Together, they stepped into a circle, holding hands, their shared fear coalescing into a fragile resolve. "We'll break this," he declared, bolstered by their unity. Just as they concentrated on their goal, the laughter rose again, building into a fevered pitch, a tide of sound that echoed through the dark history pressing against them. "Join us!" the figure cried, its voice blending with the sounds of despair from countless lost souls. The shadows surged forward, claws of darkness reaching out to snatch them away. With a defiant roar, Alex summoned every ounce of courage he had left. "Not today. We aren't afraid." The impact of his words clashed against the shadows, triggering a shockwave that rippled through the air. Suddenly, silence fell, like the calm before a storm. What had they awakened, and could they really fight their way back? Before they could react, the exit appeared, flickering at the edge of their vision, an illusion woven between the threads of fear and hope. Could they reach it before the darkness reclaimed them? The shadows recoiled, gathering strength anew as the sinister laughter crescendoed, filling the room with a promise of chaos. Would they manage to escape? Or were they already lost to the history of this wretched place? As adrenaline surged, the three dashed toward the exit, the full weight of the malevolence behind them pushing them forward. But the laughter, it wasn't just fading away. It transformed into a chilling chorus of angry voices. Your fate won't be so easily evaded, and with that, they were propelled into a nightmarish reality that would test the very limits of their will to survive. The moment their feet hit the ground, the shadows surged forward again, a dark tide that threatened to swallow them whole. Alex felt it wrap around his ankles, cold and relentless, trying to drag him back into the abyss. Emma's scream sliced through the thick air, a raw sound of panic that filled him with urgency. "Keep moving," he shouted, yanking Emma toward the flickering exit. Jake was right behind them, eyes wide with determination and terror. But the laughter didn't let up. It morphed into guttural whispers, echoing tales from the past, twisting their memories into a nightmarish montage. "Let us show you what became of those who dared to defy us," a voice slithered through the chaos. They stumbled, bumping against one another, the shadows clawing at them like desperate hands. Just inches from the exit, the ground trembled again, rocks and debris tumbling as if the very essence of the horror was coming to life, refusing to let them go. Not yet. The figure much closer now, its form shadowy and flickering, like a candle about to extinguish. "You've opened the door to your fate. Why not embrace it?" "Shut up!" Alex screamed, focusing on the door ahead. It was flickering like a mirage, a heartbeat away yet impossibly far. "Help me!" Emma cried, her voice trembling as a tendril wrapped tightly around her wrist. Alex felt his heart race. He reached for her, grasping her fingers, but the shadow tugged hard, determined to rip them apart. The moment felt like an eternity. Alex's mind raced, weighing his options as the grotesque laughter echoed around them. He couldn't let their bond be severed. "Jake!" he shouted, on three. Without waiting for a response, he felt the adrenaline surge through him. 1, 2, 3. Together, they pulled with all their might. The darkness retaliated, howling in frustration, but their bond didn't waver. Alex felt a lightness in Emma's grip, a flicker of hope igniting within the shadow-laden air. With one final heave, they broke free, bursting through the exit just as the shadows shrieked in outrage, a cacophony of despair that clawed at their backs. They found themselves outside, the air cooler and clearer, though saturated with an unsettling tension. The brothel loomed above them, a massive shadow against the glow of the moon, its windows glimmering with unwelcoming light. They fell onto the grassy expanse, panting, gulping in the fresh air as their hearts hammered in their chests. Relief washed over them, but the laughter, oh, that relentless laughter echoed in their minds like a mocking serenade. What the hell just happened? Jake gasped, struggling to gather his surroundings. I don't know, Alex stuttered, fighting to calm his racing heartbeat. But we can't go back inside. We need to get away from here. His words hung heavy in the air. They all felt it, the consuming weight of the darkness that had surged around them, the promise of an unfinished tale still swirling within the confines of the brothel. "You heard it," Emma's voice trembled. "They said we're part of their story now. We can't just leave." The realization settled into Alex's gut cold and unpleasant. They weren't free. They were linked to that place, that figure, and whatever fell energies haunted it. He could feel it creeping into his thoughts, like shadows at the edges of his mind. "We'll find a way to break this curse," he said, forcing confidence into his tone. "We will not be mere characters in their story." Just as Alex finished speaking, the ground beneath them started to tremble again. The sky darkened, shadows looming around them like encroaching phantoms, whispering their secrets. "Together," Alex said, meeting Emma's eyes. There was a collective understanding, a primal determination. But deep inside, fear coiled like a snake, ready to strike. That he could still hear the laughter fading into the night, promising that their ordeal was far from over. What more did the brothel want from them? What further horrors awaited? They had escaped, yes, but at what cost? The night buzzed with uncertainty, and as they ventured further, the chains of their terrifying experience were still far from being broken. They couldn't run forever. The past had awoken, and it wouldn't be silenced easily. With dread filling his chest, Alex turned back toward the brothel, its silhouette fading into the darkness. The shadows still whispered, and they were not done. A chill swept through the air, biting at their skin as they turned toward the brothel, each hesitant step pushing them closer to an invisible edge. The weight of their fear clung to them like an oppressive fog. Alex struggled with the shifting emotions in the pit of his stomach, a tangle of dread and determination. "Hey, what if we just left?" Jake's voice trembled, thick with anxiety. "This place, it can't be real. We can't be tethered to something like this." His words felt heavy yet oddly comforting. The idea of escaping was tempting. But deep down, Alex also sensed the truth. The brothel was far more than just brick and mortar. It was a living nightmare, pulsating with the memories of those trapped inside. Turning their backs felt like a betrayal, a surrender to something sinister. "No," Emma spoke, her voice stronger than before, yet still edged with fear. "Whatever we face, we'll do it together. There is something here we need to uncover." Alex nodded, feeling the strength of her conviction wash over him, igniting a flicker of bravery within. The three of them approached the once welcoming entrance, the lights flickering ominously as if taunting their resolve. With each slow step forward, darkness pooled around them, creeping along the ground, sending prickles up Alex's spine. Inside, the air felt thick and suffocating, as if they had stepped into the very heart of the shadows. Dimly lit rooms lined the hallway, each door slightly ajar, revealing glimpses of previous occupants forever sealed within. The laughter lingered, echoing louder, wrapping around them like a serpentine embrace. "What the hell is this?" Jake stammered, glancing nervously at the shadows that danced along the walls. "They're watching," Emma whispered, her eyes darting around, searching for their unseen observers. Anxiety prickled at the back of Alex's neck as he felt the weight of countless stares pressing into him. "Let us keep moving," Alex urged, his voice strained. "We can't stay here." They ventured deeper into the brothel, every heartbeat drumming like a warning in the unnerving silence. One of the doors creaked open, revealing an ancient-looking parlor filled with dusty furniture draped in cobwebs. In the corner stood an old mirror, its surface intricately decorated, yet blemished with age. "Look at this," Emma said, stepping closer. The mirror shimmered ominously, reflecting a distorted version of the scene around them. Their figures twisted into grotesque forms, laughter wafting out in hushed tones like a snake whispering secrets. "Don't get too close," Jake warned, pulling her back. But Emma's reflection seemed to call her. She was entranced, gazing into the depths, her eyes wide with awe and fear. What if it shows us something?" Alex grabbed her arm, a surge of panic coursing through him. "No. It could be a trap." Suddenly, their reflections shifted, revealing not just distorted images but flashes of memory, faces lost, cries for help, moments of despair, all preceding their own confrontation with the shadows. It struck Alex like a punch. They're feeding off our fear, he realized, his heart racing. This place thrives on our terror. The laughter intensified, crescendoing into a cacophony that filled the room, overwhelming and chaotic. Alex felt the shadows closing in again, attempting to ensnare them. "Run!" he yelled, tugging Emma away from the mirror, instinctively dragging Jake along. With pounding hearts, they raced down the corridor, every instinct screaming at them to escape. The laughter morphed into a guttural roar, echoing with anger, as if the brothel itself was in revolt against their flight. The walls trembled, and the ground quaked beneath their feet. As they turned a corner, they stumbled into what looked like a ballroom filled with flickering lights, the air humming with an unsettling energy. Shadows writhed along the walls, twisting and curling like snakes. "Wait!" Emma said, stopping. "We can't just flee blindly, we have to confront this." Before Alex could protest, the lights dimmed, plunging them into darkness. From the void emerged the flickering figure they had seen before, a solid form now, more tangible and terrifying than ever. "Why do you resist?" it crooned, its voice dripping with malice. "Your story is just beginning." What choice was left to them now? Would they have to sacrifice even more to regain their freedom? As fear crept into their veins, the air thickened with tension, waiting for the next move. In that moment of uncertainty, every fear they shared hung heavy in the silence. Would they stand together against the darkness, or would they become just another whisper in the back of the brothel, destined to haunt the living? The figure loomed larger, its features sharpening into something unnaturally human. Alex's mind raced. Was it a trick of the darkness? Or something far more sinister? The air hummed with tension as the laughter faded, leaving a chilling silence that pulsed around them, wrapping them in its embrace. "Face your fears, children," the figure hissed, its voice reverberating within the hollow ballroom. "Embrace what you've tried so desperately to escape." Emma stepped forward, determination glinting in her eyes, despite the tremors in her hands. "You think we're afraid? Show us what you have," she shouted, every word a tower of bravado. A faraway echo answered her, almost as if the brothel itself was being challenged. The flickering lights dimmed once more, spotlighting the trio while shading every corner of the room in inky blackness. Shadows danced along the walls, whispering secrets in staccato bursts, as if eager to share what had never been said. "Courage, dear girl, does not erase fear," the figure replied, its smile widening to a grotesque degree. "It merely disguises it." Alex felt a cold knot twist tighter in his stomach. He couldn't let fear take root. "What do you want from us?" he demanded, his voice wavering but steady. "You feed off our fear, but why?" The figure laughed, a low, mocking sound that echoed endlessly. "You seek knowledge, yet you walk into this web with eyes wide shut." It paused, lingering over their apprehension. "Those who dare step foot inside these walls come looking for answers and leave with questions that plague their souls." "What do you mean?" Jake stepped next to Emma, his voice barely above a whisper. "We didn't come here for questions." The darkness shifted around them, coiling and tightening, the shadows swirling like a storm. They felt the air grow colder, each ragged breath fighting against an unseen force. A sudden insight dawned on Alex, one that made his heartbeat thunder painfully in his ears. "This is about the past, isn't it?" he stammered. "About what happened here?" The lost souls. The figure's grin faded slightly, but its eyes glimmered with an otherworldly light. "Very astute. Every story here is a thread, interwoven with horrors and regrets. Can you confront what was, before seeking a way out?" Alex's gut twisted at the implications. They had come seeking answers about the past, the truth hidden within these haunted halls. But what if their pasts were also woven into this story? What if the shadows carried tales of lost hopes and unfinished business, binding them together with the souls still trapped within? Suddenly, the laughter erupted anew, engulfing the ballroom in a cacophony of their own worst nightmares. Alex could hear his own name mixed in with the voices, echoing his own fears and insecurities. He gripped Emma's hand tightly, feeling the warmth radiate from her, a stark contrast to the icy dread swirling around them. "Can you dig deep, Alex? Can you see the truths you've buried?" The figure leaned closer, its breath chilling against Alex's skin, stirring his darkest memories and insecurities. "No," he gasped, stepping back. "Get away from me." But Emma pushed forward, staring defiantly at the figure. "You have no power here. We'll find a way to break this cycle. We want to let you win." In that moment, an energy surged through Alex. Emma's fight ignited a spirit within him. "We're all we have," he said, his voice steadying. "We're facing this together." The figure recoiled, uncertainty flickering across its face for the briefest moment. The flickering lights began to stabilize, illuminating the ballroom with a fierce, bright glow. The air vibrated with urgency as the shadows began to retreat, pulling back as if recoiling from the newfound courage of the group, but as dread ebbed away, another realization struck Alex: the brothel would not let them leave so easily. There was an answer buried in the heart of this darkened history that they needed to uncover. "What do we do now?" Jake whispered, panic starting to return. "Face it," Emma urged. "We confront our pasts. Whatever it is that holds them here, we have to shed light on it. We either unite with these souls," or her voice trailed off, leaving the unsaid hanging heavily in the air, "we risk becoming one of them ourselves." Before they could fully grasp the weight of their decision, the lights dimmed again, but this time they flickered ominously, leading them toward a darkened corridor that hadn't been there moments before. "Together," Alex said, his heart racing. "Whatever we find, we face it together." As they stepped cautiously forward into the void, the laughter began anew, this time filled with anticipation. What awaited them in the depths of the brothel, where shadows twisted into forgotten memories? The answer was drawing closer, and yet so was the darkness, hungrily waiting to claim them. Would they emerge victorious, or become yet another haunting inside a brothel eternally chained to its tragedies? The corridor before them stretched into darkness, as if it were a living entity, breathing and shifting underfoot. Alex took a deep breath, feeling the anxiety ripple through his body. With Emma and Jake flanking him, he stepped forward, heart racing. The air felt thicker here, almost alive, wrapping around them like a shroud. "Where does this lead?" Jake asked, his voice barely above a whisper, his eyes darting nervously across the walls. "Only one way to find out," Alex replied, trying to sound braver than he felt. But inside, doubt crept in like a cold draft. Each step felt like a challenge against whatever terrors awaited them. The darkness loomed as they ventured deeper, the silence pressing in around them. Then came the whispers. Soft, barely audible at first, they began to swell around them, a haunting symphony of lost hopes and forgotten cries. "Alex, Emma, Jake," the voices called out, intertwining with malevolent laughter, each syllable slicing through the growing tension. A wall of cold fear enveloped him, that he glanced at Emma, whose face was drawn but resolute. "We just have to keep moving," she murmured, squeezing his hand, her warmth grounding him. Suddenly, the corridor opened into a wide chamber. The walls were adorned with faded paintings, scenes from lives long extinguished. Stripped of color, they portrayed agony and ecstasy, joy eclipsed by sorrow. The sight sent chills racing down Alex's spine, the weight of the room pressed heavily on his chest. "We need to find the truth," Emma said, stepping further inside, her voice echoing in the vast emptiness. As they advanced deeper, the atmosphere shifted. A cold wind roamed through the chamber, making shadows sway as if drawing sinister laughter from the darkness. The laughter intensified, filling the space, a chaotic cacophony that threatened to swallow them whole. In the center, an elaborate mirror stood tall, its surface swirling with a misty cloud. The reflection shimmered, and as Alex approached, a different scene emerged. It was the brothel in its prime, filled with laughter and music, candidates of desire lost within its walls. Suddenly, the mood shifted, faces twisted into expressions of horror and agony, cries for help echoing around them. "Look!" Emma gasped, pointing. "It's showing it wants us to see." The mirror focused on a woman, her expression filled with despair, trapped in a cycle of sorrow. Alex felt a lump form in his throat. He recognized that sorrow all too well. His own reflection mingled with hers, as though the brothel linked their fates. "What is happening?" Jake shouted, panic rising in his voice. "Is it showing us our fears?" The figure from before appeared again, an amalgamation of shadows and light. "Each of you has a fragment of truth to uncover," it hissed. "To escape this place, you must confront what resides in your hearts." "Do I have to see?" Alex began, but the voice cut him off. "Facing your past is the only way through this." The figure roared, its voice turning into a shrill scream that cracked against the walls. The room shook, and the whispering voices crescendoed, drowning out reason. Emma looked back at Alex, eyes wide with terror. "We have to jump into the mirror. It's the only way to face it. What if we get lost?" Alex felt a cold sweat form on his brow. "There's no turning back now," she shouted, fear and bravery mingling in her tone. With no time left to weigh options, they locked eyes one last time. Holding hands, they stepped toward the mirror. The glass rippled like water, inviting but unnerving. As they leapt into the reflection, reality warped around them. Time stretched and twisted, pulling them into a realm between life and death, laughter and cries. Would they confront their pasts, or be swallowed by the shadows? The answers lay ahead, enveloped in pain and revelation. Yet, as they plunged deeper, a new realization clawed at Alex's mind. What if confronting the truth led to a horror he wasn't ready to see? The mirror closed behind them with a resounding snap, cutting off access to whatever lay beyond. But within, the shadows beckoned, promising secrets and sins waiting to be unmasked. Would they emerge stronger or be forever bound to the fate of those who came before? The pulse of impending doom echoed as they floated through the dark, unraveling both their pasts and the cruel fate waiting for them in the labyrinth beyond. What awaited them on the other side? The darkness enveloped them, a dense fog swirling with memories and fears. Alex could feel everything around him shifting, a subtle tremor in the very air they breathed. Holding Emma's hand tightly, he sensed her pulse matching the frantic beat of his heart. They were no longer in the brothel, they had crossed into something more profound, something haunting. The echo of their landing faded. It was replaced by the sound of muffled cries, the same ones that had haunted the whispers. Alex blinked but saw nothing in this sheer blackness. Where were they? The darkness wasn't just an absence of light, it felt like an entity, stretching, creeping, wrestling with the edges of their sanity. "We need to find a way out," Jake said, his voice quivering. Every emotion played through his voice. Fear. Desperation. A note of resolve. "Focus on the voices," Emma urged, her voice steady. "They're guiding us." Suddenly, the air pulsed, a sudden rush that took away their breath. The darkness shifted, and within moments, fragmented images flashed around them like an old film, memories of joy and sorrow intermixed, faces and places they recognized but twisted through shadows. The pain was palpable, each scene feeling like a dagger aimed at their hearts. "Is that?" Alex stammered, as he recognized his childhood home bursting forth from the gloom. A memory he had buried deep, the laughter of his parents, the old Christmas tree, the warmth of love before tragedy had struck. "No. I can't." He tried to turn away, but the moment clung to him like a vice. "They want to show you, Alex," Emma whispered, almost pleading. "You have to see it to let it go." As images of his past danced in front of him, Alex felt tears escape his eyes, and for a moment, he couldn't breathe. He relived the pain, the anger, the loss. It was too much, threatening to break him apart. But then, a new voice cut through the chaos, sweet, reassuring. "You are not alone." It was his mother's voice, gentle like a summer rain. The memory brought him back a bit, grounding him. Step into it, Emma urged, pulling him toward the dark images. As they moved closer, the scenes became clearer, morphing into something tangible, vibrant yet haunting. With a shudder, Alex stepped through the shadow. Sudden warmth engulfed him, as the icy chill of the void gave way to life. They were in a room now, a large, ornate hall. Pillars lined the space, tall and imposing, but they were cracked and splintered, evidence of age and neglect. In the center stood an old table, littered with remnants of shattered dreams, photographs of mourned faces and letters stained with forgotten tears. Jake picked one up, squinting to read, "I will always love you. Forgive me, who wrote this?" he asked, confusion swirling in his expression. "Someone who lost everything," Emma replied softly. "Like us." An unsettling realization washed over Alex. They weren't just facing their pasts, they were surrounded by the echoes of everyone who had come here seeking solace. A whole lifetime of sorrow surrounded them, frozen in this space. Suddenly, a sharp sound echoed the shatter of glass. The mirror from which they had come reappeared, splintering apart as if inviting them back. Inside, the silhouettes of their pasts beckoned, summoning them to step back into an intimacy they weren't ready for. "Guys, we might not be able to come back if we go through," Jake yelled, panic creeping back into his voice. Emma glanced from the mirror to Alex, determination etched on her features. "We have to confront it. We can't let this darkness consume us." Just as Alex opened his mouth to respond, a chilling laugh resonated through the chamber, rhythmic and throaty. "Are you ready to face what you fear most?" The figure of shadows materialized before them once more, smirking, its voice dripping with malice. "You can run, hide, or fight. But know this: the deeper you delve, the more you'll uncover." As the world shifted once again, Alex could feel the terrifying allure pulling him towards the darkness behind the mirror. The tension wrapped tightly around him, a noose of dread, leaving him to wonder. Would facing their fears bring the closure they desperately sought, or would it drag them deeper into despair? What awaited them next would test their bonds and reveal truths they weren't prepared to face. The mirror cracked, and chaos erupted. Bright flashes of color spiraled around Alex, Emma, and Jake, tugging at their very beings. They were whisked into a whirlwind of memories, fragments of love and despair dancing dangerously close to the heart of their past pains. The portal closed behind them with a resounding thud, trapping them in a cold hall that felt like a mix of the familiar and the foreign. "What is this place?" Jake asked, his voice barely above a whisper, the walls still pulsing with shadows. "It feels like our pasts are colliding," Emma murmured, glancing around nervously. The hall was adorned with lavish decor, though the lavishness was desaturated by decay. Faded images of people's smiling faces, longing eyes watched them. Time felt suspended here, heavy with unspoken words. "Look!" Alex shouted, pointing at a spot ahead where the shadows shifted and coalesced. An ethereal figure emerged, shrouded in mist, features indistinct but with an undeniable familiarity. Mother Alex breathed, recognizing the warmth of her gaze. The room shifted again, thrumming with unearthly energy. "Alex, you have come back to understand," the figure spoke softly, her voice weaving through memories like a gentle breeze. "You need to let go." "I can't. I lost everything." Alex's voice cracked, a mix of anger and sorrow crashing into him. The emotions surged like a tidal wave, spiraling out of control. "Isn't it time you confront your hurt?" she urged, her form flickering like a candle threatened by wind. "No," he shouted, but felt Emma's hand squeeze his in silent encouragement, a tether to reality. "Face the love, Alex. Not just the pain," she whispered. Suddenly, the shadows erupted around them, morphing into swirling memories, each one sharper than the last. Images of their joy and heartbreak unfurled like windows opening one by one. An unbearable weight settled on Alex's chest, and he gulped in icy air. "I feel him," Jake muttered, panic edging into his tone. "I see my dad." "Why now? Why here?" "It's trying to help us remember so we can move on," Emma replied firmly. And that's when the laughter echoed again, but this time, it felt different, more like a cruel urge to break them than to invite them back. Embrace this. The shadowy figure crooned. Together, you have the strength to unravel what binds you. A dark tendril reached out, snaking toward Jake. The moment hung thick with tension, shadows grasping. Jake's face turned pale. I can't let this happen. He yelled, a sudden fierce determination blazing in his eyes. We can't let our fears chain us. Together, they formed a circle, pressing their backs against one another as they faced the chaos swirling around. Together, Emma declared, and they stepped forward, resolutely facing the memories that loomed before them. Together, we expose the darkness, Alex added. We face the truth. In unison, they called out their fears, a chorus that rang loud and clear through the hall. The shadows recoiled, shivering under their resolve. With a powerful surge, the figure morphed, reaching for them with gnarled hands. You cannot escape your pain. You are not stronger than the shadows. But Alex shouted back into the void, we are more than our pain. We are one. And the weight of their shared histories, their triumphs, their failures resonated. In that moment, light burst forth from within them, breaking the spell of darkness swirling around. The shadows screamed, fracturing and retreating, revealing the paths leading out of their own memories. Keep going. Emma urged, her voice ringing with the strength of newfound hope. They bolted toward the light, chasing after it, hearts racing, the silhouettes fading behind them like ghosts released from their chains. The corridor opened wide, washing over them in a golden haze. With one last look back, Alex felt the ties of the past tear away, freeing him from the essence of the brothel that had held them captive. As they burst through into the night air outside, the stars blinked above them, filling the sky. The brothel now stood as a shadow behind, not a prison but a reminder of strength. We did it, Jake breathed, almost disbelieving. The weight lifted from Alex's chest as he drew in the cool night air, feeling alive and unshackled. We learned what we needed to, Emma said softly, smiling at them. We are not our fears. We can carry the love we once lost. They stood there together, staring at the looming structure of the brothel, now just an abandoned shell under the moonlight. Let us go home, Alex finally said, their shared laughter breaking the silence. Together, they walked away from the echoes of the past, feeling light and free from what had once held them captive. The laughter faded into the distance, but in their hearts, they held the knowledge that they had faced what haunted them and emerged victorious. Their story wasn't over, it was just beginning, a symphony of hope resonating toward new horizons. As they disappeared into the night, shadows on the ruins whispered something they would never forget. Fear can chain you, but love can finally set you free. Now that you've witnessed this electrifying conclusion, you need to subscribe now to the channel. Don't miss any of the exclusive stories coming up that will send shivers down your spine. Smash that like button because that truly fuels the algorithm and helps us grow. And don't forget to flood the comments section, tell us your reactions and wild theories about this epic ending. You must share this thrilling adventure with at least 5 friends who need to see this. Don't wait even one more second. This is the moment to show your support.